Okay, so we're going to make a track on the OG Novation circuit. And as usual, I'm going to start in Ableton. Now on this computer, I can run my screencasting OBS software to show you all this very smoothly because this is my most powerful computer. However, I do not have an Ableton Live license for this computer. My regular computer for music has a copy of Ableton Live 10 Suite, which is fully licensed, but in this computer I have to use a trial. So first thing I'm going to do is load my Tech House drums over here. In order to render these out without on the trial period, which is run out, I need to finagle a little bit, but here, let's listen to these. Okay, we need some drums. There's 128 drum tracks in here. First thing I want to do is create a MIDI channel, a MIDI clip, and I'm going to put some pieces in here. Now let's listen. Okay, I need to record 64 of these hits out of 128, and that's half of what, 64 is the limit of what I can put into the Novation circuit. One thing that I need to do right off the bat is I need to open up the I/O here. I need to select all of these and send them to the same choke group. I selected all of them by using Control-A or Command-A on a Mac. That way, when I fire these off, as soon as the new sample comes in, it cuts off the sample that was already playing. Okay. To do this, I need to get some room here. I'm going to set this loop length here to 8. Okay. And that means that the end of this clip is going to be at 9. I'm going to select all these by using Control-A and then Control-D to duplicate, and then I'm going to use the arrow the arrow keys to put these new clips into the right place. I'm going to select all, duplicate, select all, duplicate. Duplicate is Control-D or Command-D on a Mac, just so you know. Select all, duplicate, and that's as high. That means this is the last sample out of the 128. So I need to grab these ones, and I'm going to use the arrow keys to move these guys down into place. Okay, let's listen to this. Okay, I'd rather the first couple hits be kick drums. So I'm going to select all and move these down to kicks. I can see over here it says kick. Now listen. Okay, 64 hits. That's beautiful. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to grab this, Control-X to cut, Tab. I'm going to paste it in the arrangement view. Now let's listen. Okay. Now, if I was using a licensed copy of Live, I would chop this up and I would select each piece and I would export them, okay, one by one, but I can't export. So what I got to do, and this is actually faster, so I'm going to select each of these and use Control-E to chop them into pieces. Okay, on the grid. Don't want to miss any. It's easy to miss. At the end, I'll know if I've done it correctly, and I'll show you how. I'm slicing these. I'm going to select Control-E, select Control-E, select Control-E. And this is basically isolating each individual note into a clip. This seems like a lot of rigmarole, but in the end, I think it's worth it because I like using my own drum sounds in the Force instead of the ones in the circuit instead of the ones that they give you. And the ones that they give you aren't bad per se. It's just everyone has them, and this is what I want to use. I feel like the circuit is super, super good for synthwave. It's good for some things. Maybe today we'll make some wavy trap. If I select all these and I look down here, it says 64 clips, so I know that I've done it properly. And now these guys here, I want to get rid of the loop. I want them all to not be looped because I'm about to freeze this track and I don't want it to render 2 copies of each hit. Control X to cut them all, tab, I'm going to paste them all here. And I'm going to freeze this, okay? I'm going to freeze and flatten, which is going to render them all to audio, and I'll show you how that's advantageous. My first OG circuit crapped out on me, and I ended up selling it a long time ago. This circuit that I'm using now belongs to my friend Joey Winterroad, who I love. Now I'm going to flatten this, and all this MIDI information is going to turn into individual drum hits. All right, and I can zoom in, but I can't zoom out anymore. They are fully just one track. Okay, now here's how I can render these and save them without a license. I'm going to hit Control N to give myself a new. In fact, I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to quit. Control Q. And it's asking, do you want to save changes to Untitled? Well, I would love to, but it's not a licensed copy, so it won't allow me to save or render. So I'm going to hit No. Now it's asking me, would you like to delete the temporary files in, and it gives me the directory. In this case, it's Documents, Ableton, Live Recordings, and then the last one. I'm going to say go ahead and leave those in place. Oh, there's my screencasting. In that case, what I can do now is in Ableton, right? Documents, Ableton. If I open it up, Live Recordings. The very last one that I just made has samples, processed, freeze. Okay? And if I go by type, I can find that I have all of the samples that I just made, 64 items selected. I'm going to rename these. I'm going to call it Kit. Bam. Okay. And then I'm going to save these in a folder on the desktop. Okay. In fact, I don't even need to do that. What I'm going to do now is, well, I'll be back in a second. I'm going to open up the Novation circuit editor, what they call components. Boom, 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 boom. Now, my circuit is not connected right now. Show all products. OG circuit. This is the standalone components. And I'm going to create a pack. Boom. Right. Now, the interesting thing is I'm not actually going, I don't know if I can load more than one. Let's see. 4. Yes. Haha. Okay. In other words, I'm going to grab 5. I'm going to use Shift and Select. I'm going to grab them all. And I'm going to populate this piece. Bam. And we'll see if we have any sample time left. We do. Oh my gosh, so much left. So yeah, my whole kit. All right. Now I'm going to plug in my circuit, and I'm going to send these to the circuit. Okay. In fact, I'll show you what that looks like, but my circuit is not connected right now, so I'll be back in a moment. Okay, so here we are in the circuit, and we can audition these. Sounds pretty quiet. Nonetheless, this is what the Novation looks like when it's hooked up. So what we'll do here is we'll go to, up here it says wrong mode, right? Gonna grab that and put into bootloader mode. And this is what happens on the circuit. And then we're going to send to the circuit. Well, I gotta wait until it's connected. Why is it not connected? Said it can't detect a circuit, and yet here it is. Okay, well, we'll try it again. Ah, it's connected. It's ready to use. Don't know exactly what that was about. Nonetheless, send to circuit. We're just going to send the samples, And there it is, loading the samples. Okay, it looks like all of those have loaded correctly. So what we're going to do is over here, it says October 3rd, 2017 trap. And do I want to leave this page? No, I'll stay here, and what I will do is I will save this. How do I save it? I'll save it. And I'll just call these save as Tech House Drums 2023. Oh, I guess Tech House Drums is it. It won't go any further. Boom. All right, so that's saved. Here it says October 3rd, 2017. This was a long time ago. I have no idea where, what I was doing at this time. This is how long it's been. Looks like we got some samples in here. I'm going to listen to these. Awesome. Let's check the patches out. Yeah, I don't know where these came from. I'm going to upload these patches to the pack that we're making. Yeah, that didn't take long. You know what? I'm going to upload the sessions too. I might as well. No session detected? Oh, I see. Okay. How do I'll send the sessions. All right. I don't know what's in these sessions. Like I said, 2017, we're looking at 6 years ago. And I didn't have the circuit for that long, so they're probably terrible, but I might as well listen to them. We're still going to make a patch, or excuse me, we're still going to make some sessions and patterns from scratch, but we might as well audition these and listen to them. Okay, these guys are all good. The only way that I know how to disconnect, yeah, I really don't know how except for to hit this button, so I'm going to do that, and then we'll get started. Okay, so now all this is loaded up. Yeah, I guess we can listen to a few of these patterns. Let's check them out. Drums. Not really trap, eh? Yeah, these are alright. I like that. Sounds pretty good. Alright, I'm going to clear these. How do I clear them? I don't know. Oh no. Oh, okay. Dang, that's a tedious workflow. Well, I don't know how to turn on a metronome. Everything's cleared out. So I guess I'll just put some hi-hats in or something. Oh, excuse me. Actually, yes. Can I change these afterward? I think I can. Oh, there are the hi-hats. Okay. I like those. Let's actually, let's go to patterns. Let's get 4 bars. Wait for it to come around. Awesome. Oh, that's right. Let's find okay. Okay. It's like an old Fisher Spooner line. I put the note in. Alright, let's maybe choose too loud. Love that, actually. Sounds great. So let's go to patterns and let's duplicate these across the board, and then let's open up some software and try to make some edits and changes to these. It's not working. Just have to be stopped. No, it's not. Oh, okay, it is copying. It just doesn't. I'm not used to the workflow yet. Okay. Trying to make the stretch to 8 bars. Okay, let's see if it all works. I'm going to use the filter on synth 1. Oh yeah, so much better. What do these do? I'm going to try to record some motion sequence because okay, that's the beginning right there. All right. Beautiful. How about maybe in the effects, choose a reverb and see if this recording. Yeah, it did. Beautiful. Put a little motion sequence there too. We're going to do some deeper stuff once I open up the software, but for now, okay, let's mess with this mixer a little bit. Let's go add some distortion. Oh, I see. Beautiful. think that needs a little automation too, actually. Let's turn it up just a tad. Interesting. All right. Let's crack open some software and see what we can do here. Okay, so here we are back in Ableton Live again, and I have loaded up Momo's Novation Circuit Editor. Okay, when we crack this open, what I noticed when I first got this editor, and you can purchase this for $7 US, €6 from the link I'll put in the description. It's not a full-featured editor. Okay, you have access to the amp envelope generator over here. You have your filters. You have some effects for synth 1 and synth 2. You have all of your effect sends to your drums, etc. And then you have this XY pad that you can use to do some fun stuff inside of Ableton or whatever your DAW happens to be. When I first got this guy, I wanted to use it with only the 5-pin MIDI, but it turns out that that's not possible, and it was headaches, days of headaches trying to get this to work. But I realized that I now have to have the USB and the 5-pin MIDI hooked up. I'm going to open up preferences to live, and you can see that in the audio interface, it has my typical interface set, which is my Yamaha Steinberg USB interface, which is what I use. And in the editor itself, you go to MIDI, you go to the output device, you have it set to the circuit, which is the USB. Okay, and let's just go to the mixer and let's isolate synth 1. This is our pattern, right? And in here you have access to the filter frequencies, envelopes, okay, and all the macro knobs. All right. Now, in here, I can automate this stuff in Ableton Live, but if I hit record on the circuit, it won't record the automation from the amp envelopes, the filters, the mixer, chorus, anything that's in this box over here, or any of these. Well, I probably could automate reverb and delay and distortion sends, possibly. But really, if I want it to save inside the circuit the automation that I do in the DAW, it'll only allow me to do the 8 macro knobs. And because this editor isn't full featured enough to allow me to set the destination for each of the 8 macro knobs, it becomes impossible, right? So what I've done is I've cracked open also the original Isotonic circuit editor. Okay, and this is a free editor that you used to be able to get from Isotonic. The thing about this is it's not the Pro version. Okay, the Pro version comes with a Max for Live device, which would allow me to record all these automations inside of Ableton Live, right? But this one does not allow that, so I can't use this at all to this is a standalone editor, and I can't use it inside of Ableton Live. So it's not worthless to me, but it's not extremely useful. What I can use this for, though, is setting the destination of the 8 macro knobs. So each one of these knobs, let me go to my session view and open a new session. And I'm going to choose a synth. I'm going to go Shift Synth, and let's listen. Okay, that's the one I want to use. It's like a pad. It sounds beautiful. All right. And inside of the circuit editor, I need to click this button up here that says Get Current Patch from Circuit. Yep. And it takes all the settings that I was that are in this patch that I'm using. Let's go to Shift Note. Oh, whoops. Shift Note. Okay, sounds pretty. Inside of the circuit here, I'm going to change this to more of a pluck. Okay, so I'm going to turn the velocity down. And you can click on these and set the values with your keyboard as well. Beautiful. And you know what? I'm going to send this patch back to the circuit. On the circuit, there's one patch that I don't really care for that much. Up here, this button here, upload single patch to circuit. I'm going to choose this patch here. Okay, and if I go to there it is. Okay, now in here I'm going to mess with some of these macro knobs. Okay, do I need oscillator 2 level to be set here? No, I do not. I'm going to choose something better, like V sync depth. See, that changes the sound a lot. Filter attack? No, not so much. How about mod 3 matrix depth? Okay, and you can come down here and mess with the mod matrix if you want. This is already set to mod matrix 5 depth. That's a good change. Portamento rate. No, I don't care about the portamento rate. Let's go pulse rate. Pulse with rate index. And you can mess with the values over here as well, right? Oscillator 1 density. We come down here and you can see the density controls. Let's use the density detune. That gives this more width. Okay. Let's change this to ring modulation level 1 and 2. And then down here, let's turn the ring mod up a little bit. Where are you at? Oh, no. All right. Notice for each of these macro settings, you have a start position, an end position, and depth. Okay? I don't want that much ring modulation. Let's. Oh, I've got both. Well, ask one. Okay, that changes things good. That's a little wiggly, right? Because the LFO rate is set to that one as well. So let's go to the LFO and turn the rate down manually. And we'll turn the second destination. Let's turn that to the noise level, actually. Boom, boom, boom. Where are you at? Noise level. How about chorus level? Turn the depth up. There we go. Okay, now this sounds beautiful. Let's upload this patch to circuit in the same spot that we put it in last time. Okay. Now the circuit contains that patch, this patch, and all of these macro knobs. I'm changing the macro knobs here. I have the Momo editor open and you can see it's not changing. That's because I haven't set this to get stuff from the circuit. Now watch. You know what? I'm going to switch voices and come back to this. All right, now I'm going to show you what can be done. Okay, let's get some. a little beat going just so you can see, just to get a metronome. Okay. All right. Over here in the editor, you're going to love this technique. I'm going to open this thing up and I'm going to configure these 8 macro knobs. Okay? Now, I'm going to shut this UI down, and here we can modulate and set modulation inside the DAW for the 8 macro knobs. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over here to Max for Live Devices, and I'm going to crack open one of these Max audio effects, which is Device Randomizer, one of my very favorite things to use on earth. And I'm going to map, well, here are the timing settings, by the way. It's set to frequency 0.73 hertz, so it's really slow. I've got smoothing on, okay, which basically gives all of these a bit of, it changes the rate of all of these at the same time. Let me show you what I'm going to do. I'm going to map this to here, and as you can see, immediately they start to wiggle, right? Now let's listen. If I go to patterns, I can see where I'm at. How about if I take the little pattern that I just made and I duplicate it all the way across the board, and then I select them all. Now, these changes that are inside of the editor are going to record with modulation inside the circuit all the way down. Ready? Okay. Now I'm going to stop randomization here. Now let's listen. Now, that opens up so many huge possibilities for Novation circuit sound design. Okay, so let's go back to the original pattern. Okay, it sounds like the editor has changed things just a tad, okay? And in the device randomizer here, I've changed the timing from frequency where it was to sync, and I've set it to change every 1 bar, and I've turned smoothing all the way off. So all of these are going to change to a random value every 1 bar. They're just going to jump like a square wave, right? So let me show you how this works. Watch this. I'm going to use Live to launch. In fact, let's go to the mixer and let's solo just synth 1. Okay, watch. Okay, you can see it's changing all these randomly. Let's choose a different synth sound. I think I'm going to re-record this. I wonder how to get rid of a part. Clear a part? here. Okay. And then go back to pattern, duplicate. All right, that ought to do it. That one again. That sounds pretty beautiful, actually. Coming around. Let's see what happens with the editor. Listen. Okay, for one thing, this, let me turn this off. It's not that one. It's not that one. It's that way. Okay, what I want to do here, I'm going to group this so that I can go to the group. I'm going to set these guys to macros within the group. Okay, macros to macros. Yep. 3, 4. Now it's macro number 5. That's giving me the problems. 6, 7, and 8. Okay, so macro number 5, when I go to map, I can go to number 5, and I can make sure that it never goes all the way down. Let me show you what I mean. Okay, now let's see what happens. Let's launch it with live. Oh, you know why? Because I need to map this here now. Ooh, beautiful. I'm going to record the automation. Ready? Okay, now let's listen. Let's turn off randomize here. Let's listen. I'm going to save that. Now, here's another thing. Let's go to synth 1. In the device randomizer, we can send MIDI to the circuit on channel 2 and control the macros on synth number 2. We have synth 2 isolated. Let's listen again. Okay, let's record those changes. Okay, pretty amazing. Let's turn off the randomize feature. Let's hear both synth parts together. Beautiful. Save to the next spot. Let's go to synth 1. Let's change new. Let's make new changes on synth 1 by setting the MIDI channel back to channel 1 on the output. Oh yeah. Let's scroll through until we find a good one. I like it. Ready? Record. Okay, let's go synth 2. And let's change, whoops, the channel back to 2. And let's scroll through some synths. That's okay. Kind of interesting. Okay, let's turn off the randomize and let's listen to just the synths. Interesting. Let's save this to the next one. Ah, beautiful. Now, in session view, if you hold shift, then it becomes legato. It triggers immediately, but it picks up where the last session left off. Turn this back on. Beautiful. You know what? I'll bet you I can duplicate this entire instrument, or this entire track, and on the first one I can set that one to MIDI channel 1, and now I can probably record both I can probably record automation in both synths at the same time. Yeah, it's working. On the first one, I think I'm going to change the timing for the bass back to and I'm going to turn the release up. Beautiful. Save, oh, put a session save here. Okay, and then very beautiful. Have to adjust the volume on this. Okay, now we're getting somewhere. All right, I don't know exactly how I'm going to proceed from here, but I do want to move some things around. I want to save these on another row. Okay. Got some of these muted out. beautiful. Yeah, it's coming together. Okay, I can see the automation. Let me solo this out. Okay, what I want to know is if I get rid of all the notes, will the automation still be there? Okay, so let's clear these notes. I also wonder if I can do, oops, if I can do, yes, I can, nice. So now in patterns, I'll just record something new. I'll change the voice too, how's that? That's pretty cool. Let me turn the effects off, just so it's clearer for me. That's terrible. Anyway, I can see already that the clearing the notes also cleared the automation of the macro knobs, which is unfortunate. So looks like I need to dig into the manual and figure some of this stuff out. as you can see, I just figured out a way to overwrite the I can get rid of Okay, so it's been about a week since I started this video, and it's been days since I did the last portion of the video. Been busy with things and also just thinking about how to work inside of the Novation circuit. So what we're going to be doing today is we're going to be using Ableton again to affect the circuit. We are going to be using control change messages, or CCs, and we're going to be using Ableton's Arpeggiator, right? So the first thing I want to do before we even get started is I'm going to pull this down to one MIDI channel, all right? And then this MIDI channel I'm going to go to instruments. I'm going to drag an external instrument in there, and I'm going to show you some things. We're going to send MIDI out to the interface. Now, I don't know if it comes default like this, or if I accidentally changed a setting, like changed a MIDI channel of synth 1, or if the person who I'm borrowing this from had it set the channel for synth 1 to a different channel. But as you can see over here, if I'm tapping the MIDI here, it's not sending anything to synth 1, right? Synth 1 sounds like this. In fact, let's go to a new session. Let's go here, synth 1. Cool, nice bass. Synth 2 sounds like this. Okay, synth 1. Over here, nothing, right? However, if you go to channel number 9, synth 1. Okay, so that's just how it is, all right? Now, we're going to use Ableton's Arpeggiator in here to add some arpeggiations into the circuit, right? Another thing we're going to do, well, let's see. For Ableton's Arpeggiator, let's see where we're at. Oh, it looks like C1. So if I set a C1 note here and fire it off, let's put an arpeggiator on that. MIDI effects, arpeggiator. Oh, it's a little too fast. Let's pull it down to 120. Okay, now this guy here, we're probably going to want to have an 8-bar loop. So let's change it to 8, and let's make sure. How long? 2 bars? How about a 5th? How about, I wonder, okay. What I did over here is I hit this headphone icon, and that allows me to audition the sounds. I didn't know if it would audition MIDI notes sent to the circuit, but apparently it does. So. All right. From here, let's see. How about if we double these, and then we'll change. Put this guy up to an A flat. Okay. Not too bad. Okay. Now, next thing we're going to do is we're going to duplicate, okay, Control D or Command D. And on this guy here, let's change the color. And let's go here to the Arpeggiator. Let's change this to synth number 2, which is channel 2, MIDI channel 2. And let's listen. Okay, this one here, I think we're going to take all of these notes. We're going to select all, and I'm going to hold Control, and I'm going to pull them up and shift up 1 octave and then down to C. What that did was this, all right? So that's 2 octaves. Okay, and I think what I'm also going to do is add some variation on here as well. In fact, we'll stretch this dude out. Put a D here, and then bring this one out. What I'm doing here is you'll see what I'm doing. I'm adding some chords, all right, which are going to manifest themselves as arpeggiations in here. It's going to be very, very beautiful. They're going to hop all over, give me lots of note information. It's going to be sweet, and you'll see what I mean. All right, let's listen. Now, to make it even better, I'm going to add steps to this arpeggiation. And steps, I'll add two steps. Steps means that for each note, it's going to get 1, your original step, right? And 2 more, so three steps, almost like a triplet. And the steps means that the note's going to trigger 3 times, and the amount of difference between the first note and the second, and the amount of difference between the steps is determined by this distance here, which is set at default to 1 octave. So each note's going to go up 3 octaves. Let's listen. Beautiful. Now, here's another thing. Let's duplicate the, actually, let's just add another MIDI channel. We'll go back to instruments and we'll drag over the external instrument. We'll set the MIDI output to our interface, and we'll go to channel 10, which is where all the drums are. Okay, let me find it now. Okay, let's open up the piano roll so you can see the drums. Even though we have all these notes, all the drums on the circuit are the default here is, okay, this is usually an open hi-hat. Let's go to mixer. Let's turn all these all the way up, and let's add a little distortion to these guys. Okay, this guy here, let's change that to an open hat. Okay, this guy here, I don't care so much. Let's pitch it up a little. I don't care for the sound that much. Let's bring the tail down. Okay. Okay, now in Ableton, or basically in the circuit, I guess I should say, all 4 drums are set to C3 is drum 1, D3 is drum 2, E3 is drum 4 or drum 3, and F3 is drum 4. So, knowing that, let's get ourselves a bigger loop of 8 bars. And this is our hi-hat here. Let's see. Okay, let's select these and duplicate them. Okay, duplicate again. I'm using arrow keys and select all and select D to duplicate, then the arrow keys to move things over. Select all, duplicate, move things over. Now we have. Okay, and we can add a few variations in here. Add a couple of 16th notes, just cause. Whoops. Duplicate. Okay, now let's add, whoops. Okay. Let's add, whoops. Let us set these snares all the way across the board. Select, duplicate. Okay, and as you can see, these are playing the notes inside the circuit. Let's add a few. Spots of these ride or open hat. Okay, let's record all this information at the same time. Now, I'm not using the USB because I'm not using the editor. I'm using the 5-pin MIDI in and out, meaning that as soon as this thing rolls around after recording note information, it's going to start sending note information to live, and that's going to cause a loop, and the latency of which is going to start adding 16th notes. Okay, so as soon as we get to the end, I'm going to use this new row, and I hope that that fixes everything. I'm not sure it's gonna. Okay, what I do want to do is I want to go to patterns, and we're going to set 8 bars for all these guys. I'm going to fire this thing off in live, and as soon as it gets to the end, right before the first drum beat, I'm going to hit that record, then we're going to hear it again, and then I'm going to use this guy over here to try to take us out of record, or maybe I'll do it here. I'm not sure. We'll figure it out. Okay, so we're listening. Coming around. Okay, I just did it here instead. Let's stop these guys. In fact, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to turn the monitor off here so I don't have to hear it from over here as well. Let's listen. It sounds good. We're going to save this here. We're going to change the color by using macro knob number 1. We'll change it to pink. And we can mess with some of these voices too. Pretty. Love that. You know what's funny is it's been days, so I don't remember if I've used these voices already. Anyway, Beautiful. Save that. Now, okay? Now, we've got some other amazing things that we can mess with, okay? I've got all these stopped. Here on the drums, let us make a, actually we don't need this anymore. You know what, we might need this. Maybe we'll use this to do some things. You know what we'll do? I'll show you what we'll do. We'll go to sessions, and I have not tried this. Well, hopefully it'll work, okay? In the drum information, let's go to pattern 1, note. Let's get rid of all the notes. Pattern 1 in drums 3 and 4, get rid of all the notes. Go back to patterns and duplicate these so there's no note information. Okay. Okay, all the note information is gone. Now here, that means we can fire it off here. Let's see what happens when we add an arpeggiator to these guys. And let's change the rate to 16th notes. Let's grab all these and select them and stretch them out so they overlap. Ooh, amazing. I wasn't even expecting that. Sweet. All right, let's go back to, let's wait till this comes around. I'm gonna record again. Saving it. In fact, I'm changing some voices too. Now, here's another thing we're going to do. We're going to start using the CCs, and I'm going to show you how this works, all right? We're going to take this session, and we're going to save it to the next slot, and in this slot here, we're going to come here, and we're going to get rid of our arpeggiator, and we're going to get rid of all the note information, all right? And we're going to start using envelopes. Now right now we have an 8-bar loop, okay, which is similar to the 8-bar loop in the circuit, but to use CC stands for control changes, okay? Now I went to Novation's website and I got save as. Did I do this already? Okay, I must have, I don't know why that was open. Okay, at Novation's website, you can get the Circuit Programmer's Reference Guide 1.3, okay? And all this has all the MIDI information. Now, many of these circuits' MIDI parameters are in CC, which are control changes. The ones that need higher resolution are in NPRN, okay? And NPRN messages cannot be used in Ableton to augment things without a little finagling. There are some Max for Live devices, etc., etc. But in the MIDI parameters, synths 1 and 2, we've got a lot of CCs and these different parameters that they change in the control number, okay? We're going to go down to the drums section, and when you look at the drum section, let's go to mixer and let's, right now we are focusing on the drums. Let's focus only on the hi-hats. Okay, they're soloed. Hi-hats are in drum number 3, as we know, and if we look over here in drum control, the CC for drum number 3, pitch, right? Actually, let's do something better. Drum number 3, patch select. What this is it selects the sample. We have sample flip, as everybody knows, and so you can use more than one sample. This is the number, this is the control change number, 44, that changes or selects the sample for drum number 3. So in Ableton, it's very easy to use CCs in Ableton. Many people don't know, but you have your envelope screen over here. You grab it, and here it has the envelope is by default selected to the parameter that you touched last. But what we're going to do is use this drop-down menu and go to MIDI control. And here we remember that 44 is sample select. What it says is LSB for CC12, effect control 1. But that's because this menu here is kind of a catch-all for most MIDI devices, but the circuit is set up a little different. Every device is set up a tiny bit different. We know that number 44 is sample select. So what that means is right now it's at 0, okay? This envelope is at 0. And while it's at 0, actually I just changed it. You can choose which sample is playing. And because of that, I can add envelopes to change things over time. Okay? You can hit the B key to draw steps. Okay? You can augment some of these and give them curvature. For this is like a square wave or a sample and hold. It just selects a new sample. So not so necessary to have curvature in the envelope. So let's listen. Now, as you can see, it's an 8-bar loop, meaning this is going to be pretty static. Every single time it rolls around, it's going to be the same. In Ableton, you have in your envelopes the opportunity to unlink the loop of the envelope so that it's independent of the loop of the clip. So we could actually lengthen this or shorten it. The clip would still be the same, but the envelope would loop differently. For this one, we don't have to do that. We'll do that a little bit for some of the others. But okay, so right now, listening to what we got going on, let's add a couple of these drums back. Okay, a lot more interesting, okay? Let's go back to our list and let's take a look. We know drum 1 is our kick drum. We'll probably leave that one alone except for maybe sending to distortion, which is 16. Let's do that. We'll go to live and we'll go in the same clip. Don't even need a new clip. 16. We know this sends distortion. Let's listen. Yes, it does. Let's unlink this guy just for demonstration purposes. We'll make the loop a little longer. All right. Okay, that does some pretty interesting things. Let's go back and look again. Let's send the snare to pitch. Drum 2 pitch is 34. Let's go back to live. Same clip, 34. And let's change this. Let's give it a lot of changes. And let's unlink it again. And let's bring it down just a tad. That way, well, let's listen. Ooh. Let's also send changes to the sample selection for drum 4, which is 50, it looks like. So what's going to happen here if we keep doing this is it's going to stress it out so much that that the circuit sequencer is going to start to lag, okay? And let's make this one a little lower. Let's say to here. Okay. Okay, let's make 2 copies of this. Let's make 4 copies of this. Okay, and actually let's change the color of this one and this one as well, just to differentiate them from what we've been doing. Okay, these 4 new ones, they're going to be new. Ooh, sounds good. Okay. Okay, let's go to patterns and fire it off. Okay, let's turn the mixer back on. Save. Boom. Let's go to the next session. Whoops. Turn these guys. Okay. And this time we'll wait around. In fact, I'm just going to leave this going. Next one. Just recording different changes. We're going to be messing with things a little bit more soon. Okay. At this point, I'm not sure. I was going to say I'm not sure that we need any more of this, but I could be wrong. Let's go to turn these on. Okay, there's a lot of variation here all of a sudden. All right. I'm going to make some more arpeggiations and stuff. I'll come back. Actually, you know what I'm going to do is I'm going to clean up some of the levels of this stuff that we've got in here already. And I'm going to show you how I might be able to arrange this into some sort of a movement or a track for live use. Anyway, I love you guys. I'll be right back. Okay, so in the circuit, I have connected it to components, and I saved everything that we were working on, and I got rid of it all. Okay, so it's all up there. I'm going to include it in the pack that you can get at ghostwrittenclips.com. I'll put a link in the description. Okay, and we're going to start from scratch using the techniques that we've learned. We're back in Ableton, and I have unplugged the MIDI from the interface to the circuit so that I can just sit here and write a few things in Ableton. I've got one MIDI track open. We're going to add two more, which in Windows is Shift-Control-T to add a MIDI track. I think it's probably Shift-Command-T to add MIDI tracks in a Mac. So in this guy here, we'll just Control-R. We'll call that a synth 1. And this guy here, Control-R, we'll call that synth 2. And this one here is the drums. We'll do drums. Okay, and I'm going to add a drum kit over here. Synth 1 and Synth 2. I'll probably add some things to make it sound pretty, but in the end, we're not using any of these voices or these drums. We're going to, once we make some parts, we're going to go ahead and we're going to crack open the circuit. We're going to connect it, and we're going to record all these clips. I'm going to be firing off clips on the side here. I'm going to get rid of these send and return tracks because I don't need them. Let's see. Double click closes all your open drop down menus in your browser, by the way. Let's drag an Alchemy over for Synth 2, and for Synth 1 we'll use a Vital just because it's got nice bass tones, and Alchemy has a fantastic smattering of synth material. Vital is a free VST, and it's kind of a clone of Serum. It's not, but it definitely shares a lot of the same attributes as Serum, and it is also a very full-functioning, full-featured wavetable synth. It's just amazing, actually. But I think we're going to do everything in D minor. So I'm going to mess with these envelopes a little. Give myself a little bass tone. In fact, before I even do that, I'm going to turn up the sustain just a little. Let's give it a little unison. Let's add another oscillator. Add a wavetable. And give it a little smear. Sync. So it's always evolving. And let's leave it at 132 BPMs this time. Okay, and in the drums, the filter on that piece. All right. What's the problem? Oh well, one day I had some filter. Oh well. Okay. Whoops. Let's find ourselves some keys or some leads or some synths. I've got literally thousands of presets in here. Ooh. All right, let's add a few things. Do it a little different. Oops. Let's add another MIDI channel, and this MIDI channel is going to get MIDI information from synth 1, and the reason I do that is because I'm gonna grab all these notes and I'm gonna drag them out, and I'm gonna add, you know what I'm gonna do before I do that is I'm gonna save what I just did, make a copy. And in the new one, I'm going to drag all these notes out. Whoops. Select all, drag them all out. This does drag them all out. Then I'm going to grab an arpeggiator, put that on there, and let's solo this and hear what it sounds like. Okay, let's make it faster. I like that, how it changed to changing it to triplets for a second. Okay, and I'm going to record all that information here. Okay. take away this arpeggiator. We're going to drag this over, and now all that MIDI information is in there. Okay, might as well do the same exact, whoops, oh no, remember, trial. Control D. We're going to do the same thing with synth number 2. Drag these suckers out. And we're going to put the Arpeggiator on there. We're going to grab MIDI from synth 2 instead of synth 1. And let's solo this. Ooh, pretty. Okay, let's drag that down, and let's grab these guys and move them down a couple octaves. Okay. Pull this guy down here. Let's duplicate this again, duplicate this a couple times. Okay. Actually, I forgot to get rid of the arpeggiator. We can just turn it off, actually. Okay. Let's pull this up here, and let's duplicate this, okay. Intro. Checking the phone. Trying to see where the sound's coming from. All the levels. Now, remember, each time we change these inside the circuit, we can make copies of these and change the synth voices around. We can do all kinds of things. We can even come back into live. We can use all the CC messages that we've done to make different arrangements. Right now, I'm going to take what I've made right here. I'm going to get rid of this MIDI track because we don't need it. Another thing, these drums are not going to translate over into the circuit. So what we need to do is we need to open a MIDI channel here, and we need to drag these guys over. We have two different drum tracks, okay? The drum tracks are the hi-hats, okay? And if you remember, we've got two hi-hats here. We've got one, which is the open or closed hi-hat, which needs to go up to, if you remember, drums 1 is on C3, D3, E3, okay, in the circuit, all right? And then the other one, which will be an open hi-hat, which is any percussion, was on F3 in the circuit. So we'll move that there. And let's change the color of this so that we can see that it's different, okay? And then these guys are all the same so far. We can make some variations, but we're not going to need to. This guy here, the kick drum, is going to need to go up to, you can hold shift and use the arrows. I'm going to go up to C3. I think that's correct. Yep. And the snare is this one here. We're going to go up and then down to D3. Okay. And then, of course, E and whoops, whoa. This is going to go up to F. Okay, so that should be perfect. We're going to duplicate these guys out. Okay, I'm going to freeze these tracks just so that I can use these clips later if I want to. Once they're frozen, they've been rendered into audio tracks, and they will still be in those folders, even though I don't keep them frozen, and even though I can't save sets with this Ableton Live 11 trial. I'm giving you guys for those of you who can't afford an Ableton license, I'm giving you the keys to the kingdom right now. But yeah. This is taking a second. Sorry. You guys have stuck with me this far. I appreciate you. I hope you appreciate me. I gave my skateboard to a homeless person the other day. Yeah, I shouldn't say they're homeless because that's not what God has said about them. Nonetheless, currently they're houseless, and I gave my skateboard to them, gave them a ride, prayed with them, and now my church wants to give me a skateboard. Woohoo! Unfreeze tracks. All right. So I'm going to get rid of this drum track, and we're going to hook up the circuit and copy these over. In fact, I'm sure you guys want to see that, but the camera's not running, so I'll be right back. All right, so I got everything hooked up. Yeah, pretty good. This guy here, I want to hear what these sound like. Cool. Yeah, their drums are pretty awesome. Let's fire off just the drums here just to see. Oh, ha ha ha! You know what I didn't do is I didn't add the external instrument. So here, no output. We're gonna go to this interface and number 10. Now let's listen. Ooh, banger! All right. This guy here, we're going to switch to external instrument, doing that using the hot swap here. Output synth 2 is on synth 2. Let's listen. Ooh, okay. Sounds a little whack, so Notice right over here that as soon as it started to trigger, it starts to play the sequence. Let's go back to sessions. Patterns is fine. We're going to make these full 8-bar patterns. All right, let's hear this guy here using hot swap. We're going to go to instruments, external instruments, interface, and if you remember, synth 1 is on channel 9. Okay. One thing I'm noticing right now is that these notes, this is a little low, the C0, so let's raise it up. Good. Okay, this guy here. Duplicate this. Select all. Raising everything an octave. Okay, those sound ridiculous. One thing I know is that in the scales, it's set to minor, but we have it on C. We're going to go to D minor. Okay, now, this kind of sounds ridiculous at this point, but it's going to translate well, I promise. So let's go to sessions. Let's save that. Bam, this is an intro. Okay, we're going to save how many copies of this? Let's call 2 of these intros. Okay, so we'll save a copy of this here as well. Okay, and then we're going to have some purple. We'll put intro. Over here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different sets of stuff. Let's okay, now we're going to go through each one of these. These are all set with these sounds, but we're going to just record them and we're going to change the voices later. Okay? Okay, now in patterns, we're going to wait till it comes around. Silly. One thing, tempo. 32, save. It looks like over here I'm going to have to mess with my latency again. Low latency, 64 samples. This is going to give me some CPU problems. What's that say? Oh, sync. That's what. Okay, let's go to let's go to sessions and let's go to this guy and we'll save back here and then we'll start here again. Ready? Okay, save, boom, and in sessions, we'll save a copy of that here too, and then we'll move on to here. And we'll go to, okay. I'm watching the cursor on Ableton to make sure to know when to start and stop the record engagement. Oh, stop it! Okay, one thing I got going on here is that the tempo needs to be at 132. Save. Okay, session. Next, let's just mess with the tempo here right off the bat. 132. Save. Patterns. This might be too high resolution for the circuit, I'm not sure. Whatever comes out of it is going to be interesting. Okay, sounds amazing. Session, next, tempo, 132, save, patterns, next row. Okay. Session. Next. Tempo. 132. Save. Next row. Sounds so ridiculously bad, but you know the end result is going to be beautiful. Oh! Had to save that one. Boom. Last one. Tempo 132. Save. Patterns. Last row. thus far in Ableton, this is all we had to do. Now we're going to do a little bit of editing in the circuit. Okay, here we are. To be honest, probably just gonna, there's a lot of noise in the background, etc. I'm just gonna turn my mic off and work. You've all seen how I do things in here, and to be honest, I'm not even super sure how to do certain things in here. Gate here, I think is gate time of notes, I imagine. Nudge, pattern length. Oh, that's the pattern length of individual instruments. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff in here that I don't even mess with. So I'm just gonna work and turn these into something cool and turn the mic off. Okay, so I'm filming this without a mic, so I'm trying to be loud enough, but what I realized as I was making these patterns is that I kept feeling, even throughout this entire video process, I kept feeling like my sequences and patterns were super loose, that quantize was not on. So I'm scouring the manual, looking for the reason why quantize is not on, how can I quantize performances, etc. And in the end, I realized that I was looking at the only full manual that's ever been made. I think it's for 1.6, and we're in OS 1.8. So with the OS 1.8 update, quantize or non-quantization of notes becomes possible. Okay, so I just want to mention real quick that you can hold shift and record and that quantize is on now and off now. When it's lit up, it's on. When it's dim, it's off. Okay, and I had quantize off for a whole bunch of these. So the first top two rows of these guys here are all non-quantized performances. The last ones are mostly quantized. I haven't filled this thing up. I'm gonna fill it up, and then I'm going to perform a little bit of music for you guys. But right now, I think that that's a good that's a good tip to have about quantization, right? Not having the quantize on showed me two things. Number one, that my dependence on quantization to put in accurate note data is pretty high. These are really loose sounding patterns, right? And then also it made me realize that a lot of the organic feel that's in like lo-fi hip-hop or dreamcore, for instance, is present because of a lack of quantization. So a lot of these sound really loose, but in a really good way, right? So anyway, yeah, I'm going to finish pounding these out, and then we're about to have some performance.
Wow.